Hello and welcome to the 10th season of the FYI on Youth Ministry. This is a youth ministry podcast from the Fuller Youth Institute, and this season is all about young adults. For this introduction episode, we have the team that researched young adulthood transitions. So we have Steve and Caleb at the studio, while Anna and Michelle join us through Zoom. Hey, and if you want to not just listen to this episode, you can also watch it by finding us on the Fuller Youth Institute YouTube channel.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Argue, and this is the FYI on Youth Ministry. And we're really excited about this season because we are going to be talking about young adults and transitions. And we're going to be talking about young adults and transitions with our FYI Young Adult Transition Research Team. And I've got Caleb here and Anna and Michelle, and we're going to hear more from them in a second. But again, I'm Steve Argue. I'm the Associate Professor of Youth, Family, and Culture at Fuller Theological Seminary, and I'm also with the Fuller Youth Institute as the Applied Research Strategist, and I've been the primary investigator of this particular project. And to my left is my friend and my colleague, Caleb Bruce.
Hey everybody, I'm Caleb, and I've had the pleasure of managing all of our young adult research from 7 years ago through today, as well as translating that research into trainings and resources for people like you. And so I'm super excited to be here today to share our latest research with you, but we couldn't do that without Michelle and Anna.
Yeah.
Yes, hello Caleb, hi Steve, and welcome to everybody who's listening today. My name is Ana Dolores, and I am one of the research assistants for this amazing project. And so right now I am a fourth-year PsyD student, clinical psychology student, and working through my doctorate. So I'm very excited to share about this project with you guys. Aside from this, I have 29, almost 30 nephews and nieces, ranging from all developmental stages. So I am very fascinated to share with this project, as I do have nephews and nieces who are going through this phase of life. And now I'm going to pass it to Michelle, my amazing colleague, who we have worked together on this project since day one. So here you go, Michelle.
Hi, team, and hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Sa. I am a PsyD and clinical psychology grad student at the University of Denver. I'm also a research assistant at the Fuller Youth Institute that I've been with for the past 2 years-ish. I'm also a chaplain in the Army Reserve, been in service for about 8 years now. And I'm also recently graduated young adult. I started this research journey as a young adult and also went through various transitions that we're going to be talking about today. So really excited to be here.
Okay, so this season we are talking about young adults and transitions. Both those terms are really important. So if you're a ministry leader and you're working with teenagers or you're working with young adults and you're wondering what to talk with them about, we think that this series is going to give you some language to really help with that. And if you're a ministry leader, there's a really good chance that you're in your 20s yourself, that some of the ways that you're thinking about ministry isn't just for everybody out there. You're trying to make sense of your own life and your own transitions that you're going through. And we found that that has been really, really powerful from some of the research that we've done as well. So we're really excited about this series.
Right, and through our research, we've identified 7 key transitions. And so before we jump right into them, Steve, why do transitions actually matter? Why transitions out of all the things we could talk about?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And we've really wrestled with that because there's lots of things to talk about with young adults, right? And I think that's one of the overwhelming things about young adults is that people care about young adults, but they don't know where to begin. But what we discovered is that we need to show up for young adults where they say they need us the most.
Right.
And we think that this space is the transition because it's the place that what got them here won't get them there. It's the place where they feel perhaps the most vulnerable. And this is the place where they actually look up and look for help. And I think we should show up where they say that they need us the most. And I think this is what we discovered from our research, and which makes me very excited.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things I love about this idea of transitions is that we all go through transitions, right? You're moving, you're going to a new career, you get married, divorced. There's all these big life transitions.
Right.
But there's something particular about being a young adult because one, these transitions are happening all at once, right? We'll talk more about this in a moment, but transitions are just all at once happening to young adults, many at the same time, and trying to figure out, okay, how do I navigate this? But there's also the sense of that when life is stable, we don't actually ask the big questions about life or about ourselves.
Right.
Who am I? Where do I fit? What difference can I make in this world? But when we're in transition, we can't really hold on to just external stability to guide us. So what do I do? And so this is a unique moment as ministry leaders. How do we lean in and learn to accompany young adults in those key moments? And so through our research, right, we identified 7. So I want to turn it over to Anna. If you can go ahead and share with us some of those key transitions.
Sure. So Michelle and I were going to share the transitions one by one, and I'm going to be starting with self-identifying. So the first transition that I want to share with you is self-identifying. Emerging adults are going through multiple internal and external identities in order to live and embrace their authentic and true selves. So what this means for them is that they're asking questions of like who I am, what role do I play in society, and who do others say that I am? So in this transition, emerging adults are actually trying to find out who they are, their identity, their values, their beliefs, their morals. And so this is the self-identifying transitions.
Thanks, Anna. The next one is taking responsibility. And what happens during this transition is young adults trying to gain a sense of agency. And they do that to make decisions for themselves and also for their family and community, and to increase their responsibility in their lives, relationships, and actions that they take. And the goal in taking on this responsibility transition is to gain a sense of confidence and stability. They're also seeking social recognition, so others recognizing that they are responsible and capable. And in addition, they're wanting to learn different life skills and get better at taking care of others as well.
So the other transition that I want to talk about is contributing. What does this mean? Contributing is the efforts to make meaningful and purposeful contributions to the world. So, what we found in our research is that actually emerging adults are not just seeking a job or something that they want to do the rest of their life, but they're actually looking for something that is meaningful to them, that they want to provide to others, and how they want to help others. And so their goal in this transition experience is trying to find out what difference do they make in the world? What is their purpose? What is their calling? Their calling. So trying to see like how can I contribute to this world? How can I make a difference? And at the same time, they're trying to pair that up with their abilities. What abilities do I possess? What do people say that I'm good at? Or what do I know I am good at? And so then during this contributing transition, that's what they're trying to figure it out, their purpose and how that match with their abilities.
The next transition is self-caring. And this is, broadly speaking, different types of wellness. And during this transition, emerging adults are trying to advocate for themselves by making healthy choices that ensures, improves, or recover their physical, emotional, and mental health. And the goal they have is to really be a more whole, healthy, and confident person. And for some, that's really addressing their physical health. For others, it's making sure they go to therapy or get that mental emotional support. For others, it's a combination, and they're just trying to make a meaning of what it is to exist in their body, to go through these health wellness transitions in their 20s.
And so the relating transition, in this transition, what young adults are trying to do is they're trying to negotiate or seek out new relationships or setting boundaries with others or being vulnerable with others. So what this means in this transition experience, emerging adults, what they're trying to do is they're trying to find out the relationship with others and what does that mean to them. For example, as they navigate from high school, now going into maybe work or college, they're trying to navigate that experience of like, what does it mean to leave my high school friends behind and now trying to gain new friends in college and trying to see like, is this friend aligns with my values, with my morals, with my beliefs, what I believe or not? In relating transition, the other part is also family. How does family play a role in this part of their life, in the third decade of life? Some get closer to their parents during this time because now they understand of like, what does this mean that their parents are there for them? Well, maybe before they did, but now it's another sense, more deeper relationship. And some also see that maybe their relationship with their close friends or close family members are not healthy. So some of them try to renegotiate that and draw boundaries between those people that are in their lives. So that's what it means with related transition. The acclimating transition, what this is that this is emerging adult efforts to adjust to geographical or institutional environments. So what this means is like the physical move, the adjustment, the changes that happens when relocating. So for example, when a young adult is graduating high school, now it's going to enter into college. Sometimes this college or this university is not going to be the same place. So they're moving, physically moving to another location. And so then once in there, this location, they're trying to find out everything, right? Like, where am I going to live? Where am I going to go to church? Where am I going to go shopping? When we talk about institutional transition, we talk about how if they are graduating now from university and not gonna they're gonna move into the workplace. So they're adjusting to moving to a different institution. So that's what we mean when they're acclimating. So there is a constant physical move and adjustment of different environments.
Last transition is meaning making transition. And for this transition, we mainly looked at literature on religious and spiritual transitions. And this is where emerging adults try to evaluate the religious or spiritual narratives that they have inherited from their parents or communities while trying to construct their worldview and who they are, the congruence within themselves about their identity and their purpose. The goal they have in going through this transition is to gain a sense of well being, gain that sense of coherence, and a sense of acceptance for themselves and from others as well. And again, to find that sense of belonging and to understand and embody their spiritual and religious experiences. All right, so those are 7 transitions that we found doing this research.
Hey, so I'm back to tell you, if you're really liking the content that you're hearing in this season, we want to hook you up with a really helpful resource. It's a guide titled 7 Things You Need to Know for Successful Young Adult Ministry. This guide covers the transitions that we're talking about in the season, but it also gives you practical questions to help you engage young adults. You can download this guide at youngadultministrynext.com. I mean, you don't have to go right now, but you could. But do come back. Like, make sure you come back after you get it, because you want to hear the next part.
So, Steve, you've been studying and researching young adults for a while now. Can you share with us why young adults are important to you and for the church?
Thanks for asking, Michelle. One of the reasons they're important to me is I'm a parent of young adults. So that makes it something that's really, really personal. But I think that's also probably true for the church as well. I think as I talk with leaders and parents and other adults, usually when we talk about young adults, usually a name or a face comes to mind, or someone they care about, someone that they love. So this isn't philosophical. I think it's relational, and I think it's really, really personal. I think also young adults are important to the church just because their stories matter. I could probably go on about that, but we took probably these aspirational ideas and really boiled them down into a research project, right, Caleb? And we really wrestled with this, which I really, really love. But I'd love for you to share a little bit about our process and how we actually went about finding these stories.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I think about research, if you're not on a research team, chances are you're not. It's actually kind of like going on a journey because you're not really sure what you're going to find, right? So we start out with like, okay, we're going to head this direction. Like we think transitions matter, but you don't really know until you go deeper into the forest what you're going to find, whether it really does. And so we thought young adults transitions were going to be an impactful part of their lives in a way to really open up an understanding of what is it like to be a young adult today. And to really get deeper into that, we read basically as many articles as we could find on young adulthood and what their experiences of transitions are. And through that, we found the 7 key transitions that basically every transition experience can fit within one of those 7, if not more of them, right? But we didn't want to just go, okay, well, they're there, right? We found articles, that's enough. We actually want to say, okay, young adults today, how often are they experiencing these transitions? Which ones really matter and make an impact on their lives? And we found through the survey of over 1,000 young adults, it's all of them, right? And after that, we have this big understanding, all this data on the young adults, but that's not really their stories. And so we followed up with about 35 of them to really sit down and listen to an experience that they had of a major transition in their life. How did it impact them, their relationships, their relationship to God and the church? And we found, okay, transitions have a huge impact on young adults.
And in addition to that, I think it's really important for our audience to know that we really focus on identifying and listening to different marginalized groups. So we looked at different ethnic minorities, individuals with disability, military population, those who were formerly incarcerated, those with medical illnesses or disabilities. And I think that's really important to us and to the church because these are different identities that often go without notice or get much attention. And I think for these populations, that's a big part of who they are. And I think it's really important to listen to how their experiences can differ. So I hope that our listeners also, wherever you are, listen to those little nuggets that are that sets them apart, because that can be important to them as well.
This question's for everyone, but I just want to start with you, Anna. How did this research impact you? What did you learn through it? How does this process change you?
Such a good questions. What lessons did I gain? There's many, but I would like to highlight 3 lessons that I gained from this experience. The first one is that I noticed the excitement and the passion that young adults have in finding meaning and how to contribute in the world. Young adults are willing, are seeking, they want to know, they are brave, they like they just want to eat the world. And so I think that was one of the biggest things for me to just embody and be part of, like, be with them in that part. The second one was grief. I noticed through our process, through our literature review, through like learning from their experiences in our interviews, that there's grief in this third decade of life. Like, for example, maybe even like from graduating high school, they're grieving leaving those high school friends, and now they're trying to go into to college and trying to adapt to that new place, leaving their families behind, adjusting to that place. There's so much grief going on during this period of time. So I think that's something that helped me develop empathy towards young adults, to not dismiss their experience. And then the third one is social support. Social support is so important. It's so essential for them. Like, having somebody just to listen to them, having somebody who they can trust and just be there for them. So these 3 things stay with me, and I use these 3 things in my job. For example, when I'm with a young adult in a therapy room and then sharing with me their experiences, most of the times now I'm able to just sit with them, empathize with them, instead of trying to fix their problems or kind of tell them it's okay, you're gonna get over that. No, it allowed me just to be there with them and to sit with them. So how about you, Steve? How was this for you? What was the biggest lessons that you gained from this project?
I think one of the things that I've been learning over time is that oftentimes there's a prevailing narrative that leaders have of young adults, and it's typically a negative one. I think what we've learned through this research and what's impacted me and what has inspired me is that there's more than one narrative, and there are positive narratives too. Are young adults perhaps leaving the churches in some ways? Yes. Are young adults seeking meaningful lives and finding new connections with churches? Yes. And so I think this research is inspiring me to talk about young adults in a much broader perspective and a more hopeful perspective than sometimes we've often heard.
Yeah, and I think when I think about it for me, I just realized how important language is to be able to put language to our experiences.
Yeah.
That I think so many young adults go through young adulthood feeling like this is just like a big jumble of experiences and it's difficult and it's hard, it's just disorienting. But when there's not language to describe, like, oh, this is what I'm experiencing, it actually feels more disorienting, right? And so I've just found that the more and more we share this with young adults, I've just found that like light bulbs go on, or like the sense of, oh, that's what I was experiencing. I can put words to this now. And somehow it tames the experience. It doesn't make it all easier, right? But it also makes you have meaning for it. And even though I'm in my 30s, looking back on my 20s, I feel like, oh, I better understand what I was going through in my 20s.
Yeah.
As well as I actually had more grace for myself. Like, oh, it's okay that I didn't have it all figured out because I was navigating, 7 transitions at once at certain periods or going through all these different experiences. And so I'm just excited for how this research is giving language for people's experiences and how much meaning that adds to their lives. And so, Michelle, I'm curious, how's it impacted you?
Yeah, for me, through participating in this research, it helped me to kind of reflect on my own experiences as a young adult and experiences of my young adult friends around me. And I realized how no one young adult has the same experience as the other. And I think the big thing for me is the overlapping of these 7 transitions and the various intersectional identities that we hold. And that's something that was really important to our team, was to seek out the experiences of different populations, different gender identities, different cultural identities, different social locations. And that makes it also different and complex. And I think now I, meet a young adult or talk to them, and I don't assume that because they're going through this and this, it must be that, because they have a lot of other identities and forces that make their experience unique. And I think one thing that's been really cool for me is, so I'm a student therapist, so I see some clients, and some of my clients are in their 20s, and I hear some of these transitions coming up in our sessions, and I think it helped me to, knowing these transitions helped me to kind of normalize the dissonance and discomfort that they feel during their 20s, but also to help them balance and see the excitement and hope that they have in this 20s as well. So yeah, that's what I learned through this research. So that's just a little bit about what each of us learned personally, but I'm curious how this podcast season would help our listener to understand about the young adults. So Steve, why don't you start us off?
I would say that this season is going to help answer 2 questions. The first question is, what do we talk about when we talk about young adults? We really believe that the information in this series is going to give you new language, new perspective, to have a different and more generative conversation about who young adults are and what their lives are all about. The second question that I think it's going to answer is, what do we talk about when we talk with young adults? There have been so many well-meaning leaders that have been excited about the research that we shared with them, and they said, great, I've got this information, but what does it mean to actually talk with a young adult? The intentions are good, the will is good, but they just need a little help along the way.
Definitely. And I also think, youth leaders are going to be so much more confident as they send their graduating seniors off into adulthood, right? Whether those young adults are moving across the country or they're staying locally trying to figure out their vocation, this series can really help you understand, okay, this is what young adulthood is like today.
Yeah.
And you can actually prepare youth, teenagers for that experience. Because many of us, we talked in the research team, like how amazing would this have been if we had learned all this on the front end of our own young adulthood experience, right? It would have tamed it. It would have made it less unknowns. It'd just be like, okay, this is normal.
Right.
I'm normal, right? That feeling of like, okay, this isn't just a crazy experience I'm having and nobody gets it, but just like, oh, okay, this is normal to go through all these transitions.
Right.
Oh man, I feel like this podcast season will be such a wonderful resource for our leaders just by listening to this podcast. They're gaining knowledge, they're gaining the insights of like who is a young adult. They are able to also see like the young adults are not only coming with one purpose, which is like serve, which is good, but they're coming with 7 other transitions that they're going through.
Yeah, so I think through this podcast season, I'm hoping that those who listen would feel overwhelmed, hopeful, and curious. It is an overwhelming period. So I hope that everyone who listens feel a little bit of that. And I think that's where empathy can happen, right? When you notice that overwhelmedness, that's how young adults feel, a lot of them for 10 years, the 20s. And I also hope that you feel hopeful in that this language, this transition language gives us so much power. Now we have a language to talk about what's going on and how that feels. So wherever you are as an audience, the community that you have is unique and different. And I hope as you listen to our podcast, you would get curious about the young adults in your life and how all these transitions show up differently and beautifully in their lives.
We're really excited about this series. We think it's going to be fantastic. And I think one of the processes that has been so exciting is that, our team has worked really, really hard to do the research, but we have not done it without the constant advice and feedback from our Young Adult Advisory Council and other young adults that have given us feedback along the way. From the research questions to our findings, they've given us feedback along the way. And what's a treat for this season is that you're not only going to hear from us, but you're going to hear from young adults sharing their experiences and talking about the ways that these transitions have impacted them personally. So I think together, this is going to be a really, really powerful journey that we're going to be able to take. And without further ado, let's introduce you to the young adults that are going to be talking with us this season.
My name is Rachel Chen.
Hi, my name is Miriam Kalmbach, and I'm 24 years old.
My name is Faith Schiller.
Hi all, my name is Ray.
I'm Christian Eggers, and I'm 29 years old.
I'm Will Hooper, and I'm 26.
So I'm Ethan Linder.
My name is Seth McManus. I live in Indianapolis.
My name is Amalia Goldborn in Southwest Michigan.
My name is Esteban Velasquez. I am 28 years old.
I'm Laura Holiday in Orange County, California.
I am so excited about this season and what's going to happen with it. And as you are engaging this season, may you know that your attention to young adults matters. May you know that young adults can make a difference, not only in the world, but in your life as well. May you create space for them to have the conversations that they really want to have. And may you show up where they say they need you the most. And may you know God's grace and peace.
We're just so excited for you to hear the stories of young adults, understand these transitions, and be able to lean in to what it's like to walk with young adults today, whether you're a young adult yourself or you're hoping to support young adults in your own ministry.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone. It was so good to be here.
Thank you, Steve, for this opportunity. It was great to learn about young adults with you, an expert. So we are just excited to be part of this project, and we love being here.
Thanks, everyone, for having this conversation. We'll continue to be engaging with you, and we will see you soon.
This podcast is one of the many free resources produced by the Fuller Youth Institute. Check out the show notes for links to all of the resources mentioned in today's episode. And if you want to not just listen, but also watch this podcast, you can go find us on the Fuller Youth Institute YouTube channel. Thanks so much for listening or watching.